What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. Recently, I've realized the benefits of paring down my daily interactions and my relationships in general. Not all of them are cut away, but the time spent on them has been. I'm also seeing myself lose interest in building new ones in this current season. Now, this might have just started from depressive coping, but it's given me perspective on the only relationship that matters most, and that's the one I have with myself. I thought about why we isolate ourselves when we need people the most. You would think if you're needing connection and you feel lonely and you're down and out, you would go out of your way to remain connected. So why is it that instead many of us do the opposite? Why, when I find myself feeling lonely, my evolutionary programming still leads me towards finding company within myself instead of the outside? Why does it want to isolate? And why does it want to sit in silence? And I think it makes sense. I sat and asked myself, why does this happen? Why do we not want a relationship with others in these moments? And the answer that came back was that because you don't have a relationship with yourself. Which seemed right, but not clear enough yet. So I asked myself, what does it even mean to have a relationship? What does it mean then to have a relationship with yourself? And then I started to look into the roots of the word relationship. The etymology of the word relationship comes from Old English and Latin roots from the word relatio or referere, which meant a bringing back or restoring or bringing into alignment or mutual reference, representing bonds, kinship, social ties, or affinities. So I was thinking about what it might mean to have a relationship with yourself, or what it is that you are doing when you have a relationship with someone. And the idea of service came to mind, the idea of communication and being aligned, the stipulation that there must be mutual desire and given importance, that the stakes are equally as important for the people involved, and to actually want to relate. And as the roots of the word tell us, that you are in it to restore each other, to build each other, to support each other. And so to relate to yourself would mean that you provide yourself with the same service that you are willing to provide others, that you serve yourself, you serve your ambitions, your dreams, your goals, with your effort, with your follow-up, with your follow-through, with your care and consideration, and that you work to build yourself, support yourself, that ultimately you restore yourself. And then you can expand out into providing that support to others. If you have no relationship with yourself, where all these foundational relational factors exist and are exercised with yourself first, then the rest of your relationships will not have any of those attributes either. And then they won't be fruitful, mutually fulfilling relationships. Unfortunately, in times of difficulty, while many of us will self-isolate as a natural response so that we can go back inwards and rebuild and restore the relationship with self, many of us misattribute that to loneliness. We don't recognize it as a calling to reconnect to ourselves. Instead, many of us think something is wrong with that response and look outward for the remedy. It isn't easy for us to perceive our own needs, and we think our needs will be met when someone else comes and saves us in the company of someone else. We hope to find ourselves in other people, through other people, when really the only thing we can see in others is a reflected version of ourselves. Except in others, you can't touch that version of you that's reflected back. You can't affect it. It's just a mirror. And so if you want what is reflected in the relationship to differ, or if you want anything out of that reflection that you think completes you or fills you, you have to affect the thing you can tangibly touch and mold. And that's the subject being reflected. You. While the reflection may seem more real because your eyes cannot peer back into yourself, still the reflection isn't a way into what is being reflected. It is only information on the subject of the reflection. It can only show you what is, what exists, what shows up, and even that only in a mirrored reflection. It is not, however, the source from which transformation can happen. All that is just you. And the thing is, when you can be the source of a real company for yourself, then your relationships that you think will rid you of your loneliness will actually feel like truer company because you have gotten to know and sit with your truest self. Carl Jung calls this the deep self, an archetype of wholeness where you have integrated your conscious and unconscious parts. Relationships are often just a projection of our unlived lives. And to have a true bond, to have a real relationship with someone, you need a sense of individuation where you have faced your shadows and unearthed your authentic self. Without that true knowing of self, you chase illusions, ideas, theories, fairy tales. That relationship with self restores any imbalance or ambivalence that might show up in a relationship. And from that deep connection to self, it's easier to have the genuine curiosity and desire to serve yourself, to be a friend to yourself, to actually want to do it, like someone you love instead of someone you berate. Once that communication with self becomes more honest and more frequent, it resolves a lot of chaos and fosters growth. To actually feel home in yourself, with yourself, to look forward to return to yourself often. And ask yourself, isn't that what you want from every one of your relationships? But you won't give it to yourself? How do you expect any other relationship to be any deeper than you go within yourself? You fill your life up with people, with noise, to hide from yourself in a crowd. You leave no room for yourself to be seen. And the more you try and drown that out, the more disconnected you feel, the deeper into the void you go. You feel lonely because you are not your own company. It is said that hell is other people, not because they are evil, but because we let their gaze define us. We hope someone sees in us what we don't have enough grace to extend to our own selves. I read a meme that said, "You're not avoiding people, you're avoiding dysregulation." It isn't isolation, it's called nervous system spaciousness. To make room for yourself that has not received the care and attention. At their best, relationships bring back the lost parts of us, what has been stowed away. And a relationship with yourself brings back, restores parts of you you never even thought you had, returns back all of you. I love you, family. Stay true always. I'll see you on the next show.